Cloud Atlas is not just a redo or a rewrite of the original source material, but actually a science fiction kind of construction of David Mitchell's original story.
To do a special effects film, never done that. I've never worn massive amounts of makeup.
They were wanting to push, cinematic boundaries, and that was just hugely exciting.
It's a spectacle.
What is science fiction? It's this slippery, slippery beast to try and get. It hasn't got a clear border, which is great, but you know when you're deep in the heart of it, and you know when you're moving away from it. Nonetheless, if a genre's there, then, of course, what exists can be subverted and tweaked with and played and paid homage to. It's great goo to work with.
We had to invent a society of 2133 based around consumerism. And then you have to invent what people consume in those days. It's also based around the Papasan restaurant, and so what is a fast food restaurant in that period? And the people who serve are manufactured.
You can write the word fabricant and you produce in somebody's imagination something that is other, something that isn't a human.
Fabricants can be excised for this.
But as soon as you cast an actress, they're not different. They're just as human as everyone else. So it's up to the actress to create this feeling of other.
After I finished reading the book and script, it's strange, but I felt a connection to Somi. This was all new to me because this is my first Western film.
She could bring in all these profound, probably even personal experiences and translate them into the character like, ooh, this is weird.
Yeah,
and
that's neat.
The insecurity of it is so
amazing,
moving because it has zero manufactural noise.
The fabricant lives at Papasan is no better than slaves.
They're not allowed to have any feelings, thoughts, or emotions. And they're like working machines.
I think it's about freedom. Through 6 different time periods, there's an awful lot of abuse of slaves going on in this film.
This idea that if you kill a fabricant, it's like just kind of changing your car. You get another model.
If the enforcers and the DNA sniffers find out about your connection to UNA 939, you will be excised. Chang is a first science officer for the Union Rebellion.
Not lieutenant or not like lieutenant colonel of the Union, the first science officer.
Jim Sturgis had to be the kind of kind soul that just invites predators in. And then he had to be strong enough to be an action star.
Yeah, but we didn't want an atypical action star for that role. We wanted somebody who was the first science officer of the Union Rebellion.
Whereas Adam sort of has a much more unsure and unstable approach to what he's doing, Chang has a very military sort of precision.
Chang makes Somi become strong and stand up to the world with dignity.
The idea that a construct could possibly challenge authority has to be stamped on.
May I say you speak consumer surprisingly well.
Unanimity 대부분들이 한 가지 하나밖에.
One way I tried to generate a temporal distance between the 6 worlds was to change English.
Brave, Mr. Ewing, continue.
I will not let you down. Now, this used to play viddies, but the chip is corrupted.
And in the Somni story, it suddenly seemed natural to create this English-sounding grammar for unanimity. So the forces of consumerism have this American-based dialogue.
What is the first catechism?
Honor thy consumer.
And because we were so far in the future, because there was this kind of consumer sort of speak, it was a very delicate, very finely painted sort of accent.
It culminates in the book with the middle section with this Pigeon Valley speak.
Feeling our own and you're a real cowtown.
This kind of like 6th generation of whatever we're speaking right now.
Because it feels like a breaking civilization, and that's what we wanted. We wanted the fall to represent this fall in language. But it was hard because you have to make it understandable so that people can follow the story.
You burn them about the true and never tell them the whole truth. I need to cog what you're doing.
It's one of the things people were really scared of when we were starting to present the project, and when people were reading the script, they said like, What do you mean? I mean, they're actually saying these weird words and lines?
Smart rope.
I like to think that the more people are dumbed down to, the sharper the hunger becomes to not be dumbed down to, and the better the response would be when audiences are treated like grown-ups.
The hardest one, I think, was the Zachary story. Where do you put them in history for the viewer without making it look like it's set in the 16th century?
It was necessary for us to have an actual reproduction of Sonmi's language as her legacy.
But the manufacturing of the book was something that was tricky for us.
Mind the words of Sonmi.
After the fall, how do you reproduce it? And so what we came up with was this very complicated idea where the freed fabricants are pulling off their collars, right? Because this is Sonmi's symbol when she's actually holding up the broken collar. They pound them flat, so the cover is this interwoven pounded metal. And then they take their slave clothes and they cut their hair like she did, and they stitch the words transcribed by Archivist Park into the paper.
So the book itself is like a symbol of their own liberation.
Yeah, it's just...
It's all there. It's all there, people.
It's 2 seconds close up.
On the 5th viewing...
How much do you need?
This is the type of movie that people will see something that they've never seen before.
It's a film about freedom and oppression. It's about the world of science and progress, and how something as horrific as the kind of slave trade evolves with us and then manifests itself into genomically engineered human beings. I won't let you go.
Whether it's in the past or whether it's in the far future, you have to do the right thing, hoping that somewhere in that process they do make a difference.